Hi, I just want to show you how you can be able to do some auto increment in your data. So what we're looking at is whereby when you're adding up data and you've created some charts, data must automatically increase. So the first thing that you would have to do is this: you would have to be able to uh, define define the range in which that data should increase. Whenever I put data below here, I should be able to auto increase. Okay. So for us to be able to do that, we start with we will start with the date, then deal with the cells, then afterward create a chart that when we increase the data here, even the chart will be able to increase. Okay. So on that, the first thing that we have to do is this. Uh, when you've got a naming range, a range that you have to name is when you've got a naming range. When I highlight the range, you'll see that Excel is telling me that my range is from A11 to A19. Okay, this is my range. But now, one thing which I want is that this range must auto increase. If I increase my numbering to up to uh, A20, it should also auto increase. And for us to be able to do that is that I have first to remove the A19 so that I can put an auto increase here, which will be index. Now, what is my index on? So now my index will be able to highlight all the cells that I want to incorporate in the auto increase. So here I will highlight these cells only up to there, but you can go as far as you want. So when I do that, I lock these cells because I don't want them to shift. So I put an F4 there to lock it. Then I say comma. So now to be able to see the increase in the numbers, I'll use the count formula. So which means I'll say count. What do I want to count? The same range in which I have highlighted there. So I can just copy this. I can just copy uh, the range which I have put there and repeat it under that one. Then I close. Okay, I have to double close. Also remember to lock the A11 F4 to lock. Okay, so now what we have now is that this range has been marked for auto increase. Okay, so what I'll do is that I'll just highlight the count so that you may see what it is returning. When I say count, so what the count function does, it counts where there are values. If it is empty, it does not count. So I'm presuming that the data is systematically arranged such that there are no blank spaces. Okay. So when I highlight that, I press F9. When I press F9, it is counting up to 8. So if you count from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it counts up to 8. So it will return the value of the 8th value. So I press Ctrl Z. So since it's counting up to 8, and this is our range, so I highlight the index. When I highlight the index, what I want to do now under the index is to find out what value is it returning. So if I press F9, you see that it is returning this value, of which it is this one here. The reason of which it is uh, uh, which is A18, A18 there. Now this, remember that I told you that date is in number format. That is the date which is being returned there. I Control Z. So for me to be able to enter this one, I have to use the Control Shift Enter. The reason why we're doing this is that we have put arrays in formulas that do not usually take up arrays. So I press Control Shift, then I press Enter. Okay. So now what it is returning to me is the first value there, but in real sense, it is counting these values up to the bottom there. Okay. All right. Let me do this. I'm going to highlight everything from the beginning to the end, and I press the F9. So if I press the F9, it shows you that what is being retained inside. These are the dates. So the first date, second date, third, all the 8 days, all the 8 dates. Okay. Control Z, and I press Control Shift to enter this. Okay. So the same formula which I've used there, I'm going to use the same formula here. But the only thing now is that I'm going to be using B. So what I can just do is quickly copy this formula. I can quickly copy this formula. When I copy it, Control Shift Enter, I bring it on the next one. I press Control. I press Control V to paste it. After pasting it, now I have to change this A to B, okay? Because we're no longer using the B, we're now using the A. We're now using the A. So I just change that to B, and this other part B, next B, next B, next B. Press Control Shift Enter. Okay. So now we're now dealing with our second one. Okay. Now that we have written that formula, we now want to bring up a chart. But before we bring up a chart, what I would have to do is that we have to give these formulas names. And for us to be able to do that, I can come up here. I can copy this same formula, the first one, which is for date. I can copy it. When I copy it, I go to formulas under name manager. When I click under name manager here, this is where I give formulas names. So I can come here and say new. So I want to give it a name. This one will be date. Then the formula under reference to, I can put the formula there. Okay. Now I can be able to test the formula by coming here and clicking on that. I come there. Okay. Then I go to edit. Then I check the formula. To check, if you see the formula now, you can see that this is the range on which it is referring to. Okay. Then I say alright. Then now I can add another one. I go and copy the one for sales. I highlight it. I copy it. Control Shift Enter. I go to my name manager. I go and say edit. Which one am I dealing with? Name manager. I wasn't supposed to edit. I was supposed to say new. Then it has already read. It has presumed that I want to put sales there under name. So I can just delete this and paste that. Say OK. If I come back under edit, I click in the cell. It shows me that this is the range. So I've seen that, okay, my formula is working. Now I can close it. Now that I've given it a name, I want to be able to bring up now I want to insert the chart. So I highlight my table, then I go to insert, then I come under insert and select which chart I would want to use. So in this case, let's look for a chart which we can easily use. Okay, let's try to use this chart here. Okay, so I'll click on this chart, then say okay. So this is the chart which I'm being given. If you look at it here, on our first date, which is the 5th of that month, or the 10th of that month, I see it's a 4. This is where it's starting from, 4, then it goes to a 5 on the 11th, just like that. Okay, so now my data now has been tabulated. But what I want to do is that I want my data to not to pick direct from this table, but I want it to pick from my formula. Now remember, I gave it a name, so I have to go to my select data. If I click on select data, under this table, I go to my cells. So if I click on cells, I want to change the data for cells. So I go and say edit. When I click on edit, this is where the trick lies. Okay. Now, this formula which you have here is the formula which is allowing me to pick data from there. But starting before, just starting after the exclamation, because this one is a reference to a sheet, but afterwards it's a reference to the data. So I'll come and carefully delete the reference to the data. Then I'll press F3 to select my names which are put in the system. So I'll select, in this case, that is for the cells. I click on cells, I say OK, then I say alright. So to check that this is working, I can click on cells again and press edit. You'll see that it now gives the sheet name and actual cell reference, okay, the name ranging, okay. Then we say after that I go to for the date, I go and click edit, okay. Under the date, it's the same thing. It's after the exclamation, it's showing me the data. So I just quickly remove the data reference there. Then I press F3 to come and select the date formula. Remember, this date here is a name that we gave to the formula which we put in there. Okay. Then I say okay. So now I've given these dates. So after I've given these reference to the data which is supposed to pick. After this, I just say okay. When I press OK, now this table can automatically update. If I come here and I increase the date, then put in probably a 10 there, it should automatically increase. So you see that it is increasing in the data that side. The bar chart is automatically increasing. Let's put another one. Probably let's put it at 20. Okay, so we are seeing that it is increasing. So let's increase the date to somewhere 29th. Okay, 29th. Then there we put a 5. Okay, press enter. Okay, so we see that there is an increase and there is a change in the sheet. So you can use this data probably at your workplaces, whereby data is being automatically populated, and as it is being populated, you want it to quickly be analyzed. This is how you can be able to do it, and it would be of great help to your staff or your fellow workers. Try this out. If you have any question or you're stuck anywhere, please feel free to ask.